Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 345, and we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about a lot of things, because that's how entrepreneurs are. We're kind of chaotic, we're ADD, but in this episode, I want to focus on raising capital. So I brought on an expert based in Las Cruces, Penny Payne, and thanks for being here.
Hi, Rob. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And 345 is now my new official lucky number.
And you know, it today's recording is usually I record on a Monday and Thursday. So today is a Tuesday, and I had my times messed up because I forgot. Las Cruces is 2 hours behind me, not three. So yeah, we're back to the whole ADD thing. But I met Penny through Jeff Watson, who you guys flip back to episode 308. And I also helped Jeff on a brilliant book called Boaz on Business. And so if you don't have that, go grab it. It's a great book. And Penny even bought a whole bunch to give to her friends, which is awesome. But I Jeff said, "Look, you got to have Penny on the show." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." And so we're going to talk about raising capital because, I think it not only for entrepreneurs, but those who want to buy real estate don't always know where to go, how to achieve the capital. That a lot of people just think, oh, I need to just pull it out of my savings if I don't have it. And why use your own money when you can use other people's?
hmm Yep, that's a really good point. I mean, there's ways for us to get money from our own savings, but really, like, the real estate business is a relationship business, and a big part of building and scaling is working with other people.
Hmm.
And for me, a key component of raising capital is having the long term relationships with people and working with them over and over and building trust and performing and having the right hard asset backing any capital that I'm raising for. And so I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly. I don't tend to raise capital for other companies and other people. I raise it for me and my business and what we're doing. And so far, it's working well.
So what are the steps that you have to take? I think when you're considering either raising money or partnering with others that have the money.
Sure, sure. So for me, I started with building a background in finance and economics and numbers, right? So I wanted to understand, first of all, like what it means to have debt, what it means to play with debt, what it looks like to be financially healthy, what it looks like for a company to be financially healthy, and to understand the basics so that as I went into business for myself, I could have the confidence that where I was steering the company was going to be financially healthy.
Hmm. And I see ads all the time, and it's only because over the years I've made certain that my credit score was very high. So I get all these mailers or calls. Hey, we can lend you money, and the first thing I ask, what's the interest rate? And a lot of times it's so high, it's like there's no, go away. It just doesn't even make sense. And I think the problem is that we're trained as a society not to borrow money from banks. We just take it out of our credit card. Well, credit card rates are above 30%. It'll take you forever to pay it back,
Oh,
you
it's
know.
ridiculous.
And
And then
and
with
so
these,
you go to the bank and the bank wants, 100 papers of your life history. It's so 100 different signatures and blood sample and it's like, no, I just I- so you have to simplify things.
mm,
And so you don't want to get your life bogged down filling out paperwork just to borrow money. But you do want to be able to raise it in such a way that you feel confident, you feel like you're doing something good.
Right. And that's the thing, like, so many people that are in the real estate investment space understand that you can skip the bank many times and go what's towards what's called private money lending or hard money lending,
Mhm.
where essentially you're sourcing your capital instead of from an institution, you're sourcing it from like a high net worth individual, right? So that's one place that is a great resource if you find somebody that you can partner with, um, and be able to raise capital and have them fund your deals.
And
So,
sometimes, and sometimes you can be very creative. I mean, when I bought my first house long ago, we're talking in the 90s, and I don't know if you
mhm,
can even do this anymore. Um, but I offered I told the owner, I said, look, this is all I have. I just started a job. So I'll give you, $3,000 down and you finance me the house for the first year. And so I built up equity and then I was able to take that equity to a bank and get a loan. So that's a little different. That's a little creative. But you try to ask people now to do that and they're like, because houses sell so quickly now,
mhm.
So I think that you have to go to, an investor to raise capital. And yeah, your interest is gonna be probably a little higher than a bank, but you're not gonna have all the bureaucracy.
Yeah, that's so true. So the example that you told us about is an owner financing example, and I love owner financing. That's actually a big part of our business, except on the end side of it. So what we do is we buy large tracts of land and we subdivide them into smaller pieces, and we do whatever we need to do vertically in order to prepare the land, or sorry, horizontally to prepare the land, and then we sell it off before buildings are put on it.
Mm,
So oftentimes we're going to be selling to people who want to build on land, and one of the things is it's hard to find an institution that'll lend to you for just a piece of land. So if you have a dream to, move out of the city, buy an acreage, put a little house on it, a tiny home, a mobile home, or a big mansion, like whatever you're looking for, a horse property or whatever, but you're just looking to buy a piece of land and pay it off over time without constructing anything on it and right away, it's difficult to find a bank that will lend to you on that. So there's individuals and companies like ours who will sell it to you on owner financing. So we carry the note, we create the mortgage, and we allow you to make payments to us over time.
mhm.
And that's one of the ways that we are helping to let people live the American dream, own a piece of land and build on it and create their legacy. So we're quite proud of that.
Let's talk about legacy because, you're also, I think, multi-talented because you're not just helping people, buy land, but you're also teaching or you're going to be teaching at the same college that your grandfather did. Now that's legacy.
Right.
So,
Yep.
I mean, why? Why teach?
So my grandfather, he was a psychologist and he was known for his research. And he was a professor at the university here in Las Cruces, which is New Mexico State University. And he was pivotal in helping me develop as a person, as a child. And one of the things that he told me that really impressed me is he's like, Penny, you're going to be successful, which I love that he gave that mindset to me. And my parents were also very good at that. He's like, but you haven't made it until you figured out how to give back.
Mhm.
And that has sat with me for my whole life, as what am I going to do to leave a legacy? What am I going to do to give back? How am I going to be a good person in this way, and help whoever I'm destined to help, so to speak? And I think that teaching and coaching people is a big part of that. So I'm honored to be considered right now for a position at NMSU in the fall, teaching economics, and I'm excited that it'll be. I think most likely I'll be teaching in 1 to 2 buildings away from where my grandfather had his office. So I love that.
But you talked about giving back, and I believe this podcast is dedicated to all the listeners because it's my way of giving back. I record all these episodes. I've been doing this since 2018. I don't make a cent off this podcast. It's there to teach other people, um, you know, different things. So every episode's different. But not only are you teaching, but based on your shirt, the Bridled Up Hope, you're also giving back to that. And so, you strike me as this dynamic entrepreneur who not only loves to help people with their financing, but teaches them the importance of economics, and now you're with this organization as well, and to me that's awesome because you're constantly looking out for the community.
Well, thank you. The Bridle Up Hope is geared towards women, and that's something that's near and dear to my heart. Like helping other women, giving them a hand up, giving them a leg up, like just hey, like let's all go together and do this. Like I don't I don't ever want to make it to the top and feel lonely. That's, I haven't made it if I'm lonely at the top, and so
Yeah.
I love my girls clubs. I'm part of a number of organizations, including this nonprofit, which is excellent. Bridle Up Hope, the Lost Cruces chapter, the Rachel Covey Foundation. It helps women learn the 7 habits of highly effective people through horsemanship skills, and yeah, I can't say enough about how amazing the organization is. So
You made a comment that it's lonely at the top. And I don't think for you it's ever going to be lonely because you have this success of always connecting with people. You're a networker. You look out for others, and so you're going to take them to the top with you.
I'm sure going to try, but you know what, Rob? I have found over and over in my life that I I am lonely. I do end up, well, for example, I'm a distance runner, right? And I like to do challenges. Like I just did 75 hard, and I'm doing live hard now. And I just, I don't know if you're familiar with the Baton Death March in White Sands, but I just ran the
I
half
know where
marathon
White
for
Sands
that.
is. I didn't know that how to run through it.
And I'll have people that are like, yeah, I'll do it with you, Penny. I'll do it. Let's go together. And I'm like, yeah, let's go together. Right. But time and time again, I'm finding that I'm the one that goes the distance. And there's a part of me that's sad about that because I want other people to come too. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and make it. Right. And I think that that's such a key component to being successful as an entrepreneur and in business and in life, is that when you set your mind to a task, when you commit, you need to keep your commitment. You need to accomplish that task and accomplish that goal.
Yeah. It was going the distance is always something that whether physical or mental was always something that was on top of my list. As a kid, I didn't always push myself, but as an entrepreneur who needs to feed a family,
Yeah.
I have to
Hmm. Yep.
consistently think about, okay, I know this person's telling me no, but I have my mind set on it, and when I started my first business, everybody's like, no, 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 no. Don't do it. I did it anyway. And
Yep.
it's like I jumped out of the airplane and figured out how to build my chute on the way down. You know,
Yep. Same
but
here.
that's what that 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 philosophy is what's kept me being an entrepreneur for 30 years. You have to. You have producing 60 some books now and since 2013.
Wow.
You know, I could have given up after the first one. I could have said to people, "Hey, I can't help you with your book," you know. But I helped them. I continued to help, continued to write. Um, and people are like, "Oh, wow, yeah, one book, awesome. Two books, awesome. 60 books, f you. We're tired of reading your shit." But that's the way it is. And then I'm like, doesn't matter what they say, I'm going to continue to do it. You know.
I'm curious, Rob, are you a writer who like do you require yourself to write a certain amount of pages in a given time, or when it comes out and you put it on paper? What's your process?
I don't sleep.
Me either.
My phone's always next to me, and so I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll jot my notes down. But everybody says you're supposed to write so many words a day, and I'm like, I write when I feel like it.
Hmm.
If I'm not motivated to write, I don't write.
Yep.
And I think sometimes when you force yourself to do something that you don't really want to do that day, what happens is your brain says, "Well, that that's pain. I don't want to do that," and so you stop doing it. And but for me, I do things on my time, and that way when I come back to it, I feel more joy in doing it.
Well, you're making me feel a little better because my business partner, Jeanette Amayo, and I, we are writing a book on subdivisions and how to do subdivisions. And I'm writing the chapters on capital raising, right? And with tax season and everything, and my position in the company, I've been busy doing other things and trying to force myself to write my chapters and just having a block on it. And so,
What I do is I'll come up with an idea and I'll jot it down and I'll let it sit there for a day. Then I'll come back. I'm like,
oh,
that
there you
doesn't make
go.
sense, and I throw it away. And then there's other days where I come up with an idea and I just flow with it, and I just keep flowing with it. And people ask me, "Well, Rob, you've written all these books. I mean, I can't even write one." Anybody can write one book. You've got enough material in your brain to write one book.
Yeah.
Um, but you write what you know. And yeah, apparently I know a lot of stuff, but um, you know, my whole Rob versus series was just me, foiling the Visa Mastercard people that constantly spam your phone, and I would just string them along, and I'd have fun with the conversations to the point where it would piss them off. They would tell me to f off. And I would write this stuff down. Like, that's good stuff. And so Rob versus the Scammers came out, and then I had Rob versus the Morons, and now there's eight of those books, and it's just a simple format. Basically, the books write themselves because I'm always answering the phone. But you take what you know, your adventures, your training. You could talk about your grandfather, write a book about him. You could talk about real estate. You could talk about Las Cruces. You could talk about debt. Everybody hates debt, and
Hmm.
when I came back from France in October, I sat down and I wrote out almost 12 books. I think it was
Wow.
more than that, but some of them are never going to see the light of day just
Yeah.
because they might be a controversial subject. But I did write a whole bunch, and I wrote a new series called the Can Go to Hell series, and one of them is Debt Collectors Can Go to Hell, HOA boards can go to hell, slumlords can go to hell, and the IRS can go to hell. And everybody's like, "Hey, Rob, I want to give a review for some of your books." I'm like, "Okay." So I send them the books to read. and everybody's giving these glorious reviews for 3 of them, except the IRS book. Nobody wants to touch it. They don't want the IRS in the room.
Well, wait until they get their tax returns back.
Yeah, it's
Maybe they
and
will.
and and so I come up with these subjects that I think people are gonna be interested in. And, the book that really blew my mind was Jeff's book, The Boaz on Business.
Yeah, me too. You guys did a great
And
job on that.
he came to me with this subject, and I thought, "Okay, let's do it, see how it works." And, we expanded it, put some interviews in there, but people really love the book. They love the Old Testament teaching mixed with
Yep.
the newer, how we think society. And but it also teaches you multi-generational wealth. It teaches you legacy. It teaches all kinds of great stuff. And he's just selling this book like hotcakes.
I love it. And I let the center of it for me was that Boaz learned early on how to share,
Mhm.
right?
And
And
the funny thing is that was the title of my very first book, Share.
share, really?
It
Oh.
was all about social media. I was telling people how to share your content to maximize, your audience. And so everything comes back around. But I've always felt that we as entrepreneurs need to share of ourselves to others,
Hmm.
and that's going to build our community. That's going to get people to know, like, and trust, and feel safe with us.
Yep.
And so the more we share, the more it's going to come back around for us.
Yeah. It's funny because I learned how to share, like really learned how to share in kindergarten, right?
Oh, I didn't.
Back
No,
then
not me.
it seemed like such a hassle. Like I just, I didn't want to. And now, when I'm in social settings or when I'm around strangers and I find an opportunity where we have to share space or a table or a spot in line or something, it gives me an opportunity to make a new friend,
Mhm.
right? And so I
Well,
like that.
it's funny. I can be anywhere. I could be in the grocery store. I could be in line. I could be at Disney. I could, and I'm always going to find something that I can talk to somebody about.
Oh, me
And
too.
that irritates my wife. She's like, "Just leave me alone. Don't talk to." But we've been in line with some of these rides, and I'd strike up a conversation and find out these people live 25 minutes away from me, and I never saw them in my community, but I see them in Disney. So
That's
it's
cool.
it's always incredible to meet new people. When I and when we were in France, somebody came up to me in the airport, and 'cause I was on my phone, I was looking up stuff on Google, and they came to me. They were looking up stuff on ChatGPT, so they were already using AI over there before we did. And they were asking me stuff, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is cool," because you can always tell the people that don't mind chatting up anybody else,
Hmm.
and so you strike up a conversation. But you can the people that distance themselves, they don't want to talk to anybody. They don't have any friends. They're the hardest people to break through. And sometimes maybe you don't want to, and that's okay. Because I those are the types of it's kinda like, me as an entrepreneur, there are types of people that I don't wanna communicate with. I don't want them as clients
Hmm.
because they don't see the value in who I am, you
Sure.
know? They
Yep.
don't understand my sarcasm, they don't wanna have a conversation, and, so I like having relationships with people that understand who I am.
Yeah, me too. And I think those, can forge the deepest connections when you just understand each other
Right.
easily, right? And you don't have to worry about all the rest of it and constantly explaining yourself or the other way around or trying to like get on the same page. It's just as easy, right?
Mhm.
Those are the best. Those are the
Yeah.
best friendships.
So, let's talk about Las Cruces because
Sure.
it's been a long time since I've been there,
I'm
And
surprised you've been there.
well, my son had been stationed at
Bliss
Fort Bliss, yeah, and
in
then
El Paso. Hmm.
we went into New Mexico for a little bit, and I think we passed through the White Sands,
Oh,
but we never stopped.
oh, you missed out. You got to do it.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know where Las Cruces, New Mexico is, if you think of Texas, it has that long, like little spiky thing that comes out to the west. Las Cruces is right above that. So we're like we call ourselves the Borderlands, the Borderplex. It's Las Cruces, El Paso, and then Juarez, Mexico.
Mhm.
So like I literally drive right next to the fence of Mexico quite a bit. And
I do remember though when I was there passing through the border guards, like they were 50 miles out from the border, and you had to pass through them, and I'm like, what is this invasive shit?
Border Patrol.
But
Oh yeah.
everybody has to do it. You
Yep,
know,
border check
yeah.
stations and
And
all the things.
when they say, are you American? And you say, no habla. No, that doesn't go well.
Probably not the best.
No, they drag you out of the car and beat you. No, I don't think they
Yeah.
do that, but no, and I've been to Mexico before, but I, didn't really spend much time in New Mexico, so it's a little bit different.
Well,
But
New Mexico is beautiful. We are up and coming in the movie scene, and in different streaming platforms as well. Um, we're kind of a hidden gem, and many of us have mixed feelings about being discovered. So we,
leave us
we kind of want to
alone.
just, many of us want to just stay off grid and have this small town feel because, we all know each other. We're pretty tight knit community. We have access to the big, bad, wide world, but we also like to just like circle the wagons and be home. But it's really beautiful here. We have these mountains called the Oregon Mountains. We're quite proud of them.
Mhm.
My house I bought because it has a fabulous view of the mountains, and I get lots of joy from it. Lots of joy. But it's an old dusty town. It started as Mesilla, New Mexico,
Mm.
and it's where Billy the Kid was actually jailed here. And the jail is right on the plaza in Mesilla, and it is a souvenir shop now. Um, we have a lot of history. We have some very, very old buildings here that are still part of history and still part of what was Mexico first, and then became America. So yeah, we love it. We like it. It's an ag state. It's an ag community,
Mhm.
agricultural community. So we still have a lot of people that are into raising crops. One of our biggest ones is pecans, and a lot of horse people. Yeah.
And if,
So
if if you're listening, give a shout out if you've been to Las Cruces, and
yeah.
because me, I just passed through it, and I didn't see much, but I do know that you guys are famous for your hot air balloons.
Yes.
This you have an event there every year.
We do. Albuquerque has a big one, but one that's lesser known that is actually cooler, in my opinion, is the Hot Air Balloon Festival at White Sands.
Mm.
So, White Sands, you guys, is a place that is like, think of the Sahara Desert, except smaller and not as hot. And it's completely white. Like, it looks like it's snow. You think that you're in snow. Your brain says this is going to be cold, but then it's not. It's just sand. So they do that with hot air balloons, and people come out, and they have tethered events, or they have go up and go see the lay of the land in the balloons. We love it. We
Me,
love
I would be on the sand the whole
it.
time.
Hmm.
No, I'd rather stay on the land.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have a. Then people say, "Well, Rob, do you have a problem with heights?" No, not heights. Falling,
Yeah,
falling from heights.
yeah. So my younger brother is actually a commercial pilot, and sometimes I'll rope him into flying me around. My career is such that sometimes I have to be in multiple places at once, and it's a little bit too tight for a normal flight. So I get little brother to fly me around, which is
Wow,
fun.
that's
But he's
nice.
also an adrenaline junkie. So anytime I'm in the plane with him, I have to prepare myself for the fact that we might be doing loop de loops and stalls and spins and all of the things that he likes to do to make his older sister scream in terror while he laughs. But
No,
it's
I
all
would
good.
find that
Like
funny
a
at all.
roller coaster in the sky.
So how do people find you? Where do they, I mean, yeah, they can visit you in Las Cruces but
Sure, sure,
can they find you on social media?
Yep, I'm Penny Payne, Payne. So you can find me out there on Facebook. Our company is destinylandusa.com, so you can look us up there. You can email me directly, of course. You can put that in the links if you like, and reach out. I'd love to work with you.
And she'll teach you history about New Mexico. But no, this was great. And you know, for those new to the podcast, I want you to understand that as an entrepreneur, a lot of times what you believe, what you do, how you help people is based on not only your upbringing, your legacy that you want to put forth or that you've gained from the past, um, but it's also about your personality. And so, Penny is this classic example of a well-rounded entrepreneur. And for me, it's ADD. I bounce around from a lot of things, but I think what makes my books better because now I can bring in a lot of stories. I can bring in personality. I can help people, tell better stories. So use what you have to your advantage, and just make sure that you're building a community around what you do. So
Mhm.
with that, I'm going to say adios. We'll see you guys on the next episode. See ya.
Thanks, Rob. Bye, guys.